Hey, what's up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing episode 6 of Andor, Disney Plus. Um, so, let's get to it. So, the payoff came at last. This whole thing was based on the heist that has been set up through the other episodes, the last two episodes at least. And man, I just love how everything is portrayed in this show, let alone this episode. You know, it shows like little things like how they're scared. Like Val almost doesn't call the mission in time, and it does put them behind a little bit. Or there's a point where they're discovered, and it's because there's a communications officer that is literally doing his job. Uh, and half the team get wiped out. It's And then there's a point where an Imperial lieutenant, I'm guessing, um, or colonel, they're taking the commandant and his family hostage. He pulls out his gun and immediately just points to the young kid, and is just like, let the little boy go. And then he does get taken out, by what is her name? Cinta. Uh, and that's the only one of the only things where I feel was a bit contrived. Um, but I mean, I get it, and the heist went really well. Like it started off really well, and it literally just got uh, destroyed by an officer doing his job. Uh, so I like how it portrays Imperial soldiers as not incompetent as they've been shown in other Star Wars media. Um, and it shows that there's also a lot of gray areas. You, the Imperials are by no means, the good guys, but you do see like people within it, do make morally gray decisions, and or they do good things. Again, like the colonel, like essentially pulling his gun to try to get the little boy out of there safely. Once again, not incompetent because of again the Imperial communications officer doing his job and locked on and found the signal that they were using to do this heist. Um, and I'll say it again. This feels like it doesn't feel like they're treating their audience dumb with this show. It feels like this is literally, treat your audience like with respect. Like don't treat them like they're dumb, because that is a mistake that a lot of Star Wars stuff does, a lot of Marvel stuff does, and it's just so like some of the shows that they do, some of the movies that they've put out have just it's been written to the lowest denominator, and it's just so frustrating because there's really bad writing and really contrived things, and just uh and this show has so far had none of them. This show has been an absolute joy to watch. You care about the characters because, unlike, say, Obi-Wan, where they put too much focus on Obi-Wan himself and and a very young Princess Leia, which actually came at a detriment because you didn't really care about the side characters, and a few of them got killed off. And this one, you cared about each and every one of those people in that team because they took the time to actually get to know them. And again, the only thing that I can say is that I wish they'd done like the arcs together rather than release them with. I just don't think the show is good for the serialized like once a week. And I mean, I get why they're doing it. I mean, money, whatever. But honestly, this is not a good show for that formula. It should have been done an arc at a time rather than an episode at a time per week. Um, but I do like that they're actually having long episodes here. Like there is so much I love about this show, to be honest, this episode did as well. I mean, like with the Tie Fighters, like you hear the iconic Imperial alarm blaring, uh, and immediately you show the pilots getting into their Tie Fighters and going off. As opposed to Obi-Wan, where there's got to be at least 2 dozen Tie Fighters in the Inquisitor base, and not one of them gets utilized to stop rebel forces that are in the air. And it's yeah. If any of you saw my review for that, yeah, I went off on that scene hardcore. I was mad. That was a let alone the trench coat. Oh man. But this one, they don't have any of that. There's no dumb things that don't make sense. People seem real. Like it doesn't feel like there's acting. Like it literally feels just like people reacting and talking with themselves. You get small things, and yeah, that does make it a little slower, but it makes it feel so like way more real, way more human. Like it, you don't have like rebels are doing bad things, imperial officers, imperial soldiers, they're doing good things. No one's really incompetent. And then you have the surprise twist at the end. It's yeah, and like I really enjoyed this. So give my rating, a little bit of the episode breakdown, and then we'll go take off with there. So what am I giving this? I think this one gets another 9. This was really satisfying, really well done. It's not the best heist thing you've ever seen. Like I've seen a lot of heist movies, Oceans, all the Oceans ones. Um, I can't remember any more off the top of my head. Those are the big ones that come up. But yeah, But the thing is it doesn't work unless you care about the team, and they made sure you cared about the team. So I'm happy with it. I like how there was, a little bit of, the other characters in with it. So, and literally like half the team died, and Cinta got left on the planet. She's still there, dressed as Imperial officer. So, we'll see where that goes. Hopefully, some good stuff. We will see. So yeah, 9 to 10. This was a solid episode. Loving the show. More people need to see it. I mean, people are just like not watching this. I'm hoping it's because they're just waiting until it's all out. That is my hope. Once it's all out, I hope people actually like binge watch this shit, because this is. I want to see more, Star Wars stuff like this. I want to see. I wouldn't mind seeing some like Marvel shit like this, but I mean Marvel's gonna be Marvel. Like Marvel's fine. It's just so formulaic. You know where things are gonna go. I mean, unless it's She-Hulk, in which case it goes off in all random corrections. So anyway, let's go with a brief scene break or episode breakdown. So they are in dressing in their imperial garb. They're getting ready to go into the base. You know, you meet where, and then you go to the base. You meet the commandant, his family. Like he's kind of getting fat, which comes into play later because he has a heart attack while he's loading. While he's loading credits onto the escape ship. Um, yeah, he sort of explains how they've kind of screwed over the people that live there. They used to, when the I happened before, they would have like a massive group of like 15,000, and now only like 60 are coming because they've, you know, just tried to demote it until, there is no indigenous like celebration, and then they'll just use them as slaves to build up a base there. Essentially, is their plan. So from there, you get that his wife that really doesn't like him. It's super it is funny. But anyway, so Gorn, he is sort of arranging everything on his end. They march in, they do a ceremony, and then he marches them in, and they go in with the commandant and the colonel, and that's where they pull their weapons out, and just like, don't move, don't move. The commandant is just like, what is going on? What is the meaning of this? And that's where you have no one has to die, but the colonel pulls his gun and tries to get them to release the commandant's son, and then that's when Cinna comes and kills him. And then they go in, and they quickly, pretty much, they tell the commandant that he has to go along with what they're doing, or they'll kill his family. So he goes in, and they play as an inspection. And I love this act. Like, again, soldiers playing cards or whatever they're playing. They're gambling. Like, that's something that happens. If there's no one of rank around, and it's something boring, some boring station, yeah, you will see soldiers doing stuff like that. So it makes total sense. Like, it's the little things. They've really included the little things in this that make it seem so real and lived in, and I love it. But yeah, they come in, and they disarm the Imperials, and then they're just like, "You're gonna help us load all this payroll into this ship they're going into." I did miss something. So Val, again, and I mentioned this again before. Val, she's really nervous about this whole thing, so she delays, kind of puts them behind schedule. Um, and before finally giving them a go ahead. Now, anyway, wow, I lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry, guys. So, so you have that, and then you have, uh, the communications officer who seems competent in his job, and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's told that there's no signal, but he's still trying to find something. And then he locks onto the rebel's signature and takes a team of security down there. Again, it's like, holy shit, the Imperials actually have men that do their jobs. They actually are competent. So that's really refreshing to see after how horrible you see that their soldiers are. All right, so this starts a firefight, and in this firefight, Gorn and Tamarin are killed. Um, because Skeen does not cover Tamarin as well as he should have. And then Cinta is unable to make it into the ship because, again, she's cut off. Like, there's Imperials between her and the ship. So she kind of just has to sneak out. And she does. Like, nothing's happened to her. She's still there. How that's going to play out in future episodes, we'll just have to see. Um, and just the things that go wrong, like mundane things that you wouldn't figure, again, like someone picking up the signal, and then a soldier manages to sneak into the cockpit with Andor, and that leads to a fight. Nemec does kill him, but then during takeoff, because he's in the midst of all these credits, a thing just comes and it crushes his spine. So they land on a planet. Val wants to keep going, um, but Skeen is just like, there's a doctor who is part of the contingency plan, and so it's up to Cassian, and he decides to go to the doctor, which I think is the right choice. It shows that his heart is in the right place. He's just willing to do really nasty stuff to accomplish that. Um, and that's where you get the backstab. Apparently, Skeen had lied about his backstory, and he was planning on just taking off, just him and Cassian, and then they'd split the money, split ways. And yeah, in the middle of his talk, Cassian just pulls out his gun and blasts him, and I was not expecting that. It was crazy. So he goes in, knows they won't believe him. Nemec unfortunately does die, which is very sad. But as per his wishes, Vel does give Cassian his manifesto. So yeah, because they did develop quite a rapport. He did do great. It just was honestly an accident that he got killed. So now then we go into, so he does tell Vel, but of course she doesn't believe him at first. And so all he wants is what he was promised as payment, and leave everything else to the rebellion, essentially. So, yeah, there it is. So then you're back on Coruscant, where the Senate's in progress. Uh, and what is her name? Mon Mothma, or Mon Mothma, is addressing the Senate over something, a planet erase something. There, there's barely anyone there. People are leaving, and yeah, then you hear about the heist, and the ISB agents are essentially told, you are staying here. Let your families know. I want a action report by midnight, and you're going to stay here until you do. Gather your teams, and it's all hands on deck. So they're going to be going all crazy on it. And then the brief scene with Luthen, and He celebrates the success of it, and yeah, that's the end. So once again, a pretty good episode that I enjoyed tremendously. 9 out of 10. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.